Welcome to RealGM Radio. I'm Danny Leroux, your host, and so happy to have you with us for this episode, if we're going to call it that. Every year, I do something special. It is very distinct and different from RealGM Radio, but my boss at RealGM thinks it's hilarious and allows me to put it on the RealGM Radio feed, and that is the Mascot bracket. So, my sister is a marine biologist and actively hates sports, but actively loves animals and the idea of mascot fights. So, 10 years ago, we started actually doing this with a bracket. ESPN's tournament, I think it's Predictor or whatever, the little machine they have which generates the matchup is actually very, very helpful for this. And I skipped the 1/16s and the 2/15s because they just kind of make her bracket a little bit too garbled. And then we go through all of it, and she treats it as if they actually got in a fight. It's incredibly fun, goes in some very weird directions every single year because she puts her own take on everything else. Runs about 35 minutes, and of course we'll have quote-unquote normal RealGM Radio. Actually going to have 2 episodes in all likelihood later this week with Arturo Galletti, but you can enjoy this for what it is. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Danny.
It's actually an interesting one first that will require an explanation. A badger versus a hokie, and basically a hokie is a turkey.
A badger and a turkey? I'd have to say a badger because everyone knows that badgers will just fight to the death, and I think a turkey will eventually run away from a battle.
That's fair. Next one is a cavalier, so I would say they have a sword, versus a seahawk, so a seahawk.
A seahawk as in a bird?
Yes, a seabird, I guess.
I think probably the cavalier, just because it has more might behind it, and I don't know what a seahawk could do to it. Is a seahawk a mythical bird or a real bird?
I'm treating it like a real bird. I'm not entirely sure, but it looks like a hawk, so it's just, I'm treating it that way.
Does the guy with the sword have a mask on?
No, he has a hat, but not a mask.
Okay, I'm going to go back with the seahawk. I think we could do a bird pecking out the eyes scenario.
Okay. Gator versus buccaneer, so pirate.
Okay, gator versus pirate. This is like classic Peter Pan.
There we go.
So I feel like you have to stick with the story. So in the story, it's Captain Hook that ultimately gets it, right?
Spoiler alert, but yes, I believe so.
Okay, so for childhood nostalgia's sake, I'm going to say gator.
Next up, so they're actually play-in games now, so it's a little bit weird, so I'm going to give you one matchup, and then that team is immediately going to play again. So the first one is a friar, so you know what a friar, like a monk kind of guy, versus a Trojan, so.
Yeah, sorry, Trojan's definitely going to win that.
Then the Trojan faces a Mustang, horse.
Oh, an interesting combo. You know, I'm thinking of the Revenant a lot right now, but I really want to say Mustang, even though I think that's pretty unlikely. Ugh.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
So the next one should be one of the fastest ones. Bear versus Aggie, which is a cow.
Yeah, definitely bear.
A bird one, a gamecock, which is a rooster, or a golden eagle.
Oh, wow.
I interpret that as an eagle that is golden color, not an eagle made of gold.
Well, I don't really know what could attack an eagle made of gold, but a golden eagle. What was the other bird again?
A rooster, basically.
Yeah, I don't see how the rooster could win this one. It can't even fly. So, golden eagle.
Okay, so we're on to the Western one for now. We'll go through all of them for the first round, then so on and so forth. Wildcat versus Commodore. And a Commodore, it's actually named after Cornelius Vanderbilt, who was a shipping magnate. So it's a person who does a lot of shipping, I guess. But not like an administrator, not somebody who actually works on the docks.
Okay, like an administrative shipping person versus a wildcat. Yeah, I feel like the shipping administrator would be caught really far off guard by a wildcat, so if it was determined to do something, the wildcat would win. And I think we have to assume in these battles that both parties are determined.
Certainly. Fighting Irish, so an Irish person who is apparently fighting, versus a tiger.
So I'm imagining sort of an Ed Sheeran-like character. I'm going to say tiger for sure.
I'm surprised it took you that long. Oh, this one's fun. I like this one a lot. Mountaineer versus bison.
I feel like, the mountaineers got to be super hungry, and there's a reason why there aren't that many bison left. So probably the mountaineer, if it wants it badly enough, is going to get it.
I agree with you. Terrapin, which is a turtle, versus a musketeer. So basically the same as a cavalier French dude with a sword.
Well, I know you like turtles.
But...
Does the French guy with a sword have armor on? Well, it doesn't even matter. He's not... No, it doesn't matter. Definitely whatever the non-turtle thing was.
I think you'll have some emotional trouble with this one. A Seminole, which is a Native American from that part of Florida, so like kind of panhandle-y Florida, versus...
It's like Trail of Tears-y?
I think it's a little bit south of there, but versus an eagle.
Ooh, burn. Well, I mean... I'm gonna show my ignorance here, but aren't eagles a symbol of like a deity type of power? I don't know if that's true for whatever sentinel this is referring to, but I'd like to think that this person would not murder an eagle, but it's hard for me to say. Can we take a quick Google break?
Yes.
I want to see if Native Americans ever hunted eagles. Okay, 2 Google searches later, I have identified the bald eagle's habitat to include Florida, and I can see that the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has granted a couple permits for Native American tribes to kill bald eagles for spiritual, religious purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be the sentinel in this case.
It's Seminole, but that's not a big deal.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Seminole in this case.
Okay, this is a fun one because I had to actually look up what it was. So it's a Gael, and what a Gael is it's a person from Ireland, which I did not know, versus a ram.
As sturdy as I imagine the Irish Gael to be, I think that the ram has got this one just due to like sheer brute force and tenaciousness.
Moving on to the Midwest, one of my favorite ones for you to just grapple with, Spartan versus Hurricane.
Oh, wow. So I'm imagining sort of a Dorothy getting swept up in the hurricane situation with the Spartan. I don't really know how you can get out of being swept up in a hurricane. The best you can do is survive a hurricane, which isn't really winning. So I'm going to go with the hurricane.
Another natural one that we've had issues with before, and I'll let you adjudicate it this year. So cyclone versus wolf pack. And because for most of these, we make it a singular thing. But for wolf pack, we've often said it's multiple. So I'll let you determine that and then determine the winner. So
here's a question. How many wolves need to survive to be considered the champion over the cyclone? All the wolves? Some wolves?
Well, see, this is why I think it should be considered one wolf, because I don't think... Because considering all of them are plural, like, they're the cyclones as well. So, I mean, I think that if we're going to do it that way, like, basically all sports mascots are pluralized, except for stupid NBA ones, which some of them are singular, but in college they do it. So, I think we should treat it as wolf versus cyclone personally, but you can make your own determination.
I mean, I'm just imagining this sort of Midwestern battle royale with multiple cyclones and multiple wolf packs. And trying to sort of envision the fallout.
It cannot be more than one wolf pack. It can be a pack of wolves, but it cannot be more than one wolf pack.
Okay. Cyclones are pretty devastating, but wolves are really smart, and they can usually sense when bad weather is coming. People say that about pets. So I'm going to say wolf pack here.
Nice. Boilermaker, which we've done in prior years, is basically a person who makes boilers, so like a metal worker, thing of that sort, versus a catamount, and a catamount is a cougar.
Wow. Does the Boilermaker mascot have any tools with him?
I think you could imagine him having let's give him
like a hot poker?
I would say it's more like a wrench or something, but it could. I think of him more as the assembler. That's the way I see it. But you can disagree. I don't think there's anything definitive.
What was the name of the first guy again?
Boilermaker.
Quick Google search. It looks sort of like a welding job.
Oh, okay.
Using pretty intense tools. So I think if this person knew the cougar was coming, which they would in a battle, they'd have a really good chance of maiming the cougar. But ultimately, these Boilermakers do not have enough going on outside of face protection to really withstand any more than like a blow or two. And no matter how strong your welder is, I doubt you're going to kill a cougar in like a single shot. So cougar gets it.
Nice. Easy one, probably. You've made some weird choices in these in the past. A blue jay versus a ram.
Oh, yeah, I have. Because you have to think the blue jay can definitely just fly away.
But then it doesn't win.
I know.
Well, I guess your logic could be they could like peck at the eyes or something.
Yeah, it would be like a combo of tiring out the ram, maybe dropping some like poisonous berries that it would sort of accidentally eat, maybe making it trip or climb up over a cliff and fall. Sort of a Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner scenario, which is not so much of a battle as a chase. But then again, like, what winning blow is the ram gonna get over a blue jay? Like,
which I think is a fair point.
The blue jay is sitting in a tree, let's say. The ram tries to get the blue jay out of the tree, smashes itself into a tree, and does not win this battle. Which is why, again, I will say blue jay.
I like that this is another fun one. So we get another Gale, so Irish person, versus a very different competitor, a duck.
Oh, duck. Yeah, I don't think the duck really stands a chance against a determined Irishman or Irish lady. So, yeah, sorry, duck.
I think this one will be fast for you, but cowboy versus Wolverine.
Oh, I mean, Wolverine basically always wins, so yeah. Plus, I don't even know if a cowboy would truly know what to do faced with a Wolverine. So yeah, Wolverine.
We're now in the South, 3/4 of the way done with the first round, and the first matchup is a Razorback, which is a kind of a wild pig, about 100, 200 pounds, in that range, versus a pirate.
The pirate and the pig.
I will note before you start this that I'm pretty sure this probably happened in history and the pirates won.
I know. I mean, I was just thinking. And again, like the Mountaineer, you have the hunger factor. Like, a pirate's been eating delicious fresh seafood for months for sure, but they happen upon some tropical isle with a wild pig population. And, like, you better believe they're going to be determined to get whatever that is. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really know how much effort it's going to take to kill a Razorback, but I feel like the pirate is going to have determination in spades, and assuming they're not too far from the boat, a lot of supplies on hand. So, pirate.
Probably the most abstract one so far, Golden Gopher versus Blue Raider.
And are we going with golden as in not a statue of?
That is how I am interpreting it, yes.
Okay, and a Blue Raider is a what?
I'm treating it as a pirate that's just blue. Their actual mascot is a horse, which I think is stupid. Like, your name is the Blue Raiders, your mascot should not be a horse. But, so I'm just treating it as a pirate that wears, like, a piratey type. Maybe you can go more modern pirate. You can go wherever. They're in Tennessee. Actually, it's a pirate in Tennessee, so that's confusing as well.
So I just Googled this, and maybe there's more than one, but it sort of looks like a detective cowboy. And now I don't even remember what it was supposed to be against.
A gopher.
I mean, yeah, detective cowboy is eventually going to get on the scent of a gopher. So as much as I really want the gopher to win, the best it could probably do is trip this damn horse cowboy gopher situation. So yeah, tight win for the Blue Raider.
Next one is one that I think you might even have a story about, which is Bulldog versus Eagle.
Well, the first time I ever saw an eagle was sitting on the beach in Seward, Alaska, and I thought it was a dog because it was so big and dark and stands very tall. There also are stories in Alaska, where I used to live, of birds taking small dogs up and away with them as prey. I don't think they've ever taken anything as big as a bulldog, but I'm sure a super determined eagle, if they can snatch a giant salmon, can definitely snap up a bulldog. So that was an easy battle. Sorry.
We get the other play-in game. It is a wildcat versus a demon deacon. And so what I would say a demon deacon is like a human deacon, like a church person that is possessed by the devil. Versus a wildcat.
So, yeah, I Googled this one too, and it kind of looks like a pimp George Washington on a motorcycle. But let's go with what you said, a possessed deacon and a wildcat. I feel like if you're possessed, you really don't have your eye on the ball. You're probably distracted by like the voices in your head. So the wildcat's definitely got an edge, and I think if it is serious enough about its cause, it's going to win the day.
So now the wildcat faces a bearcat, and a bearcat is a bear-like climbing animal, like a binturong, and they're about 50 pounds.
A bear-like climbing mammal.
Yes.
Including the red panda. And a what?
And a wildcat.
Oh, geez, wildcats. Dial it down.
Well, no, this is the play-in. They just those two teams are facing to face the bearcats. So.
What happens if two teams want to have the same mascot?
It's allowed.
Really? Okay. I mean, most of these pictures of a bearcat are of it either yawning or walking around with its tongue hanging out or lying on a branch. So it doesn't look that high energy. So I will go with the wildcat again.
Okay, Golden Flashes, which is an eagle, basically. That's what they use as their mascot. It's a little bit confusing. I think they used to actually be the Golden Eagles. I don't know why it switched. And then, actually, that's awesome. They used to be the Silver Foxes. That would have been fun. Versus the Bruins.
All I see is Anderson Cooper riding a bear now. Okay. You know, I know that you're partial to a good Bruin, and I think we've given the Eagles a fair amount of play so far today. I also think a small bear is going to be pretty determined. As long as it's not a tiny, tiny cub, I think that the Bruin has got it.
Now, maybe my favorite abstract one of the first round, it's also one of the last ones of the first round, the Flyer, and the Flyer is someone who flies airplanes. They actually were named after the Wright brothers. Like, so it's a school that's their mascot. Versus one of our old friends, the Shocker. And I actually looked this up, and the Shocker is actually the person who harvests and bundles the wheat, as opposed to the shock of wheat. That's the difference between a shock and a shocker.
A wheat bundler or an aviator.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm only guessing about the tools that a wheat bundler may have available to them.
I actually looked this up. They have a scythe or a sickle.
Scythe. Okay. Scythe. So that's pretty serious. Does the aviator have a plane, or they just know how to fly a plane?
I am legitimately unsure.
Like, the mascot, is it, like, with plane?
Well, I mean, they don't put a little, like, plane around him as he's walking around.
Right. Remember that unicorn Halloween costume I had where it was, like, all the way around me? This is what I'm imagining. And if it's not their mascot, pro tip, get it. Come on, guys. All right. So we don't know if the aviator has a plane, but we do know that the Shocker has a sickle. And I'm going to say that a sickle could probably do pretty serious damage to a small aircraft, especially if it was like Wright Brothers Day aircraft. Assuming that the aviator does not have access to their plane and is not like flying in the air as the battle starts.
Like North by Northwest?
Correct. Shocker's got it. Shocker got it.
Nice. Okay, so that's the end of the first round. Second round starts with Wildcat versus Badger.
Badger, you said?
Badger.
Yeah. I can very vividly envision this battle, and I think they would both fight super hard. Ultimately, though, I think that a badger is like super good at twisting around and can get into little crevices in a way that the wildcat is maybe going to be a little bit too lanky compared to the badger to really, really get it together. So I'll say a narrow win for the badger. Okay.
Seahawk versus Gator.
Sorry, I was just Googling pictures of a badger and a wildcat.
Sounds about right.
Okay, hold up. So I'm seeing multiple pictures of a wildcat with a dead badger in its mouth.
Are you revising your pick?
Oh, gosh. This is so painful. I don't want to vote against the badger. But the one I'm looking at is also wearing a turtleneck.
Yeah, their badger does wear a turtleneck. His name is Bucky.
You know how I feel about animals dressed like people.
I do.
Yeah, I'm revising and going with wildcat.
Okay, we'll jump to the next one then. Seahawk versus gator.
I think the gator has a pretty good shot in this one, so I'll go gator.
Bear versus Mustang.
Ooh, that's gonna be so gory. Ugh.
How does the horse win?
Kicking, you know?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Just like internal bleeding for the bear. If it got a good enough hit early on, no, I really think the bear is most likely to just run away. And, you know, a horse is very powerful and fast. I don't know how likely a bear is to truly kill a horse. So I'm inclined to say Mustang.
Okay.
But let me do a super quick Google and just make sure that there aren't ample pictures of this. Oh, ha ha ha. Okay, yeah. A bear can definitely kill a Mustang. It looks like they can just sort of take a deep swipe at their guts, and that's enough.
There.
So while I think that it would be hard for a bear to, like, truly kill a Mustang, and I think it could go either way, I'm inclined to go bear.
One that you can't Google because it's an abstract concept. Okay. Blue Devil, which we had before, versus Golden Eagle.
The Blue Devil doesn't have any special tools.
He might have a pitchfork.
Yeah.
It looks like he has some sort of stick. Sometimes. Sometimes. Not all the time.
That's pretty weak sauce if you're just a blue angry person who sometimes brandishes a stick. So I would say for the sheer lack of effort, Golden Eagle is going to get it.
I feel like this is going to be a very quick one. Bulldog versus Wildcat.
Yeah, Wildcat.
Tiger versus Mountaineer.
So the Mountaineer is going to be so caught off guard already to see a tiger. I feel like they're probably going to be scrambling for their iPhone, trying to get a picture, and then they look up and all of a sudden they're getting attacked by a tiger. I feel like that's what would happen to me for sure, so tiger.
Musketeer, person with a sword, versus Seminole, Native American.
What was the person with a sword?
Musketeer.
Okay. I mean, Musketeer, which is terrible, but yes.
Okay.
Guns, germs, and steel.
Yep. Wildcat versus Ram. There are a lot of Wildcats this year, for the record.
I know. Jeez. Is it more than one team, or is it the same team all this time?
Oh, no, it's 5 teams.
Oh, yeesh. These people are not well suited to fight each other. But are either of them wearing clothes?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I'm just going to assume no. In which case, I'm going to give it to the Ram.
Okay. Another one that we always have trouble with, but this is going to be a fun challenge for it. So the Jayhawk, that fictional bird, which I always assume is half blue jay, half hawk, even though it looks stupid, versus a hurricane. Versus a hurricane.
Which looks menacing as hell. Yeah, I mean, I think that a hurricane can really do a lot of damage to a bird that doesn't really have anywhere else to go and is unlikely to get out of the way if they're supposed to be battling each other. So, hurricane.
Wolf pack, but I'd like to assume single wolf for this, versus cougar, catamount.
Ooh. Well, if it were a wolf pack, definitely the wolf.
But I think it's a little bit unfair that we give them the plural and don't give the other one the plural. So wolf pack.
So they're called the cougars.
Yeah, it's catamounts. Yeah, versus a wolf pack.
Okay, I'm gonna nature channel this one because these two have definitely fought before. I'm searching wolf, cougar, wild, and I am finding both. Both. It can go either way, guys. But I will say, the wildcat looks more menacing to me.
The cougar? And not that it makes a difference.
Yeah, sorry, the cougar, yes.
Okay.
So, cougar it is.
A good abstract one. Blue jay versus Gale.
Versus what?
Gale, Irish person.
Again, how do you really win in these battles? It's always a fight to the death in my mind. And again, for the Blue Jay to win, they basically have to get the Gale to run off a cliff or go somewhere else that they are not capable of going. But I do think that's possible. So, and, you know, the Irish person, unless they have a gun, which I'm assuming a mascot is not armed with a gun.
But I assume Irish people, like all others basically in the world, eat birds. Maybe
yeah,
not
but a blue jay? Yeah, you're right. But, you know...
You can do what you want.
I'm going to say the Blue Jay's going to be pretty cunning. It knows what it's doing. It's going to try to put the Gale in a dangerous position. But ultimately, since the Gale, at worst case scenario, would just be hurting itself and just basically needs to avoid that situation in order to win, I will give it to the Gale.
If this is not an easy one, I'm going to be angry with you. Wolverine versus Cardinal, the bird.
Yeah, definitely Wolverine.
Two people. Tar Heel, which is kind of a Civil War fighter, so you can give them that, versus a pirate.
Ooh, so cool. Which came first, the pirate or the Tar Heel?
Well, they use a pretty old-time pirate, like with an eye patch.
Nice. Eye patch, though. That's
I think
rough.
the eye patch is a limitation. I think that kind of leans.
Oh, definitely.
That leans towards the Tar Heel.
Yeah, I mean, both have probably some weaponry. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think probably similar weaponry, in all honesty.
And like, here's another element. So this fight is going to be on land for sure, and the pirate's going to have sea legs, which make you feel sort of crazy, kind of wobbly. So I will go Tar Heel.
Blue Raider, so I think we still have the same kind of piratey sort of thing with that, versus an eagle.
Is it a special eagle in any way?
They're just listed as the eagles.
Okay, yeah. I'll go with the Blue Raider.
Okay. Wildcat versus Bruin.
Haven't we been through this?
No, we did Wildcat versus something else. Oh, maybe we did.
No, I thought we did. I thought we did some kind of cat versus... Or no, it was Eagle and Bruin. Eagle and Bruin. Okay. And it's an adult wildcat?
I would assume so. It doesn't specify, but...
How big do wildcats get? Oh, they're not very big.
Are you reevaluating some of your previous Wildcat calls? We're not going to go back through.
No. I mean, it's still... Definitely the mascot is like a much more fierce upgrade from the real thing, which looks pretty adorable. But so is a Bruin, right? All said and done, though, pound for pound, I think you have to go with the Bruin. So that's my choice.
You get another Wildcat, you're getting a lot of them. Wildcat versus our old friends, the Shocker.
Another probably historically accurate fight. And, you know, it's easy to say that we have destroyed the habitat of the Wildcat. I do think that, you know, with a huge sickle, like, what is a Wildcat really going to do to you? Therefore... Shocker again. Didn't think I would do that.
There we go. Wildcat again versus Gator.
Ooh. Oh, come on. It's not even fair.
Okay. Bear versus Golden Eagle.
Okay. Adult bear. So I think bear is going to get that one.
Another Wildcat versus Tiger. I think this is just the purging of all the Wildcats.
This is just mean. Like, you're just putting a cat in front of all these other really scary things, including a tiger. So, yeah, the tiger's going to get this one, too. Why do so many people have a Wildcat mascot when it loses so many mascot battles?
I think it's kind of generic enough that they can go through. There are too many Wildcats. There are also, to my knowledge, I don't think there are any professional American sports teams that use Wildcat. It's just colleges. So I think that also might be part of it, is because it's different. Musketeer versus Ram.
I'll say Musketeer for that one.
Okay.
Well, Musketeer has a gun, right?
Sword.
Oh, that's not as good. I changed my bet. Ram.
Okay. Hurricane versus Catamount. Cougar.
Oh. Cougar. Well, I always have a hard time with these weather ones, because, like, what really hurts?
Yeah, especially because there's not a team that does, like, a Sharknado where it's like a bomb inside a hurricane, because that would definitely win. We know that based on science facts.
Why is that not a mascot? Well, I was actually thinking the Suns would probably beat the Hurricane, but I think that's not in this category. So let's see. A hurricane and a cougar?
Yeah.
Aw, I'm just thinking of a sad little wet cat in the forest. But at the end of the day, you know, the hurricane can cause quite a lot of destruction. Probably kill the cougar in a landslide. So, hurricane.
Again, another one of these, if you pick wrong, I'm going to be mad at you. Blue Jay versus Wolverine.
Oh. Wolverine.
Tar Heel, Civil War Fighter versus Blue Raider. I'm actually kind of not going to let you switch your opinion on this, considering you just decided the same fight. Does that seem fair?
Fine.
Last one of this round. We're getting closer to the end. Bruin versus Shocker.
Ooh. A battle for the ages. Yeah, it's a young bear, and the Shocker is obviously an adult.
Correct. That's the way I would interpret it. I mean, maybe it's child labor, but I don't think so.
I'm going to do a quick Google of the mascot. And I know that over time we've sort of varied between whether or not we use, oh God, don't just Google that one word. Okay.
Well, no,
the word mascot. Oh,
the Wichita State mascot is basically a sentient husk of basically a sentient shock of wheat. It is not actually the person, which I personally disagree with.
It is so scary looking. It is so scary. I don't even remember what it's battling. What is it?
A Bruin.
Oh wow. What's that one really, really scary mascot from Florida?
I don't remember.
It's like a duck alien thing.
I don't remember.
You send me pictures of it looking scary.
Oh, anyway. Pierre the Pelican?
Yeah. Is that it? Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like that level of horror. Okay. That thing versus a Bruin, it actually does seem like a tough call, which is why I'm stalling so much. But at the end of the day, I think probably the Shocker is going to win if it has that aggressive of a tool. No, I take it back. Bruin.
Okay, we are on to, there are only 8 left, but some of these are going to be hard because we've kind of separated out the wheat from the chaff at this point. Oof. Except for, okay, Gator versus Bear.
Oh, man. And you can't tell me where they play, right?
Sure I can. The Gator's from Florida, so it's kind of like they're more panhandle-y Florida, and then because you don't even know what schools these are, and then the Bear is from Texas.
And where do we know where they play each other?
They will play in New York City.
Wow. Oh wow. Gosh, that's quite a fun battle. I would go to watch that. I would pay money to see that. It's a bear, right? Not a Bruin.
It's a bear.
Yeah, okay, bear. Bear's going to win.
Tiger versus ram.
Ooh. I think the tiger is going to get it in the end.
I think this one's going to cause you more angst than maybe any other one. Hurricane versus Wolverine.
No. Not my two favorite things. If anything's going to kill a hurricane, it's a Wolverine. Do you know where they play each other?
So I will tell you the Hurricane is Miami, which is appropriate, and then the Wolverine is from Michigan, and they will play in the Midwest, Kansas City. Okay. Oh, I think I might know where you're going with this.
Are you thinking that I'm looking at how long it takes a hurricane to die out?
Yes.
You're right. Okay, I'm looking at Kansas City on a map. I wish I had a meteorologist friend with me right now.
We're not bringing Charlie in on this.
Can I phone a friend?
No.
It's really central. So I will... Oh, I mean, I'm trying not to be biased here, but I'm going to give it to the Wolverine. I don't know how well a hurricane's going to do making it all the way from, like, the coast to Kansas City.
Last one of this round. Tar Heel, so Civil War Fighter versus a Bruin.
Okay. I'll say Tar Heel.
Okay. Final Four. So the Final Four this year is in Phoenix. For reference, it will be in early April because it takes a couple weeks to fight all these other animals. And the first one, bear versus tiger.
Oh, gosh. I feel like this is way more in the tiger's, like, home temperature territory, but since it's an indoor battle, that may not be at too much of an advantage. So
But you don't have to use the indoor thing if you don't want to, because otherwise things like a hurricane would have less of an advantage.
That's true. I always imagine it outdoors in like a big field. So all other things in my regular imaginary scenario being equal, the sunny low 80s of Phoenix in the springtime, I think at the end of the day, I will give it to the bear, because I think a bear's best blow is going to beat a tiger's best blow, although I might live to regret that.
Other one of this round, Wolverine versus Tar Heel.
Oh. So a Tar Heel, were they ever in countries where Wolverines, were they ever in like a part of the U.S. where Wolverines are?
Tar Heels are from North Carolina. You can tell me if Wolverines live in North Carolina.
It looks like you will not find a Wolverine, even in the historic range, venturing as far south as the Carolinas. So the Tar Heel will be unfamiliar with the power and prowess of a Wolverine, and perhaps like me, completely terrified of seeing one in real life. So Wolverine gets it.
Final. You know the two. Bear versus Wolverine.
I feel like we've been here before. By the way, good combo mascot if you were going to try to do one. Bear-Verine, Wolva-Bear. This is again Phoenix in the spring.
Correct.
Since they are quite aggressively fighting each other, is it a black or brown bear? Do you know?
It is whatever kind of bear lives in Texas.
In where?
Texas.
Oh.
But that's
what bear lives in Texas?
That's closer to the right climate, though. There are bears. It looks like black bears live in Texas.
Okay. God, Wolverines are so scary, but...
Bears are actually migrating into East Texas at growing rates.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Well, I guess that was in 2007, so maybe not anymore.
Yeah, maybe not. All right. It's hard for me to say this because I don't want it to be true. But an adult bear is probably going to be able to get a Wolverine. So, sadly, I choose bear.
Okay, your bracket is done. Any final thoughts that you have on this, or just congratulations to the Baylor Bears?
Congrats to the Baylor Bears. A very good showing by the Wolverines and anyone named a Wolverine. The most hauntingly fun mascot to battle is consistently weather events. Hurricanes seem to feature this year quite a bit. And please stop naming your people Wildcats, because it's boring. Differentiate yourself. Pick another predator. There are so many out there. You know, think about the ocean. We have a lot of waterborne predators that could really smoke a lot of these other mascots if given the chance. So here's one for Nessie and the giant squid and an orca. Just saying. Yeah. Marine biologist out.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time.
All right. Thanks, Danny. Bye.
Thanks again to my sister for taking the time to come on and engaging in this amazing exercise. I do really enjoy it. And as I said, this is just an outside thing. I put it on the RealGM Radio feed because I love doing it so much. But there will be a RealGM Radio episode already recorded, actually, with Arturo Galletti, going back through our over-unders from before the season. So we do the East and the West. Those will be released as separate podcasts because the the recording was 3 hours long. So I'm splitting it up. I don't know exactly what the timing is going to be. We'll have to just kind of see on availability. So you can check that out when it comes out. That's a great reason to subscribe and download every episode of RealGM Radio, because that way you can just get it in your podcast inbox of sorts whenever it comes in. You can also check us out on the CLNS Radio app. Thrilled to be a part of the CLNS Radio family. And if you want to also support the show, you can leave a rating, leave a review. Always love that as a great way of supporting it. And if you have any feedback, good, bad, or indifferent, Danny Leroux, NBA @gmail.com, @Danny Leroux on Twitter. Always do appreciate it. Maybe less so about this episode, because I'm going to keep doing this whether the aggregate kind of support is there or not, because I just love doing it, but I always do appreciate it. So thank you so much for listening. Take care and make it a great day.